Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Premiership Podcast. We're your hosts, Jacob.
And Elijah.
And let's get crack-a-lacking into the round that was, round 13, where Sydney lost against the Saints, 80-66. Nothing much to say about this game, but the Saints were just too good at the SAG. The SAG curse striking the Swans again.
Yeah, well, the Swans didn't score in the first quarter, and it was 7-0 quarter time. But no, it was pretty even throughout most of the game. At least on the scoreboard. Just the same snuck away towards the end. Yeah, good performances from your usual suspects. Marshall, great game from the Saints. Crouch, even Wangani Millera, pretty good game. And Mitch Owens, he had 8 marks, 2 goals. He was great. So,
pretty disappointing by the Swans to put up such display for Buddy's 350th. And the other thing that probably come out of this game is the Dan Butler tackle on Nick Blakey, where he got suspended for probably
no, he didn't.
a very legal tackle.
No,
very legal tackle.
No, he didn't get suspended.
He got sent to the tribunal.
No, but he didn't get anything out of it. He got scot-free.
Either way.
Yeah,
either way, he got out with nothing, which he thoroughly deserves. Dan Butler. But on to the next.
Yeah. I mean, looking on that tackle, I think you could argue that there was at least a week in it, just because you're looking at it, is driving their head into the ground. No, I think it's a motion I would think that they would want out of the game. There's a lot of drama around tackles in this round, so
as of late.
Yeah. So I would think that you probably get a week because of that action, but hey, look, it's a mess over at the tribunal, and honestly, it's something. So Saints get the win,
and we'll see that reappear with the Hawthorn Lions game, won't we?
Yeah.
But on to the next one, where the Dogs lost against Port Adelaide, 107-85. Port Adelaide, Butters, JHF. The usual suspects for Port Adelaide in this game. The Dogs just not up to the challenge against a quality opposition to really attack for that top 4 position.
Yep. Overall, it wasn't too bad effort by the Bulldogs. I just think from the opening bounce and throughout this, Power just kind of had a good read on them the whole time, and that extends their win streak out to 10. Yeah, Butters doing it all again. Really good stuff. Shout out to you. Even Horn Francis had a great game. Dixon, Rosie Jones, all the characters which are stepping up for Power, doing it again and again.
100%. And I really saw how they shut down Bontempelli in this game. Even though Bontempelli had a fantastic game, he was really not at his best in terms of disposing of the ball, because Port Adelaide were just onto him like a sore rash.
Yeah, he still had 31 disposals, but yeah, just shut down. When you start play gets shut down like that, it's hard to win those tough games of football. So unlucky, but hey, there's a lot to learn from that one, and hopefully the Dogs can bounce back. I think they've had a couple of bad games recently, so yeah.
Talking about a bad game, the Lions just can't get it done at the MCG or in Melbourne in general. Hawthorn defeating the Lions 98-73. Hawthorn, the notable players out of this game for me were Lewis, SICILY, and Kajitsky. SICILY getting into some hot drama with a tackle on McGluggage, if I remember correctly. Where he tackled him, swing tackled, and he's gotten 3 weeks for it, which is abysmal. And I know how much you hate that, because Jordan De Goey got the same thing, and yet that was a bump, whereas that was probably a legal tackle. Even 1 week would have been.
Oh, well, that's the thing. It wasn't even a sling tackle. That's the crazy part. And I want to get into. I've got a whole bunch of stuff prepared for later and what we got mad about. So stay tuned for the end of that. But yeah, I'm not happy at all with how that turned out, and I'm mad. I am fuming. I'm happy that Hawthorn and even Richmond, with their case, they've appealed the decision by the tribunal, but it's still ridiculous, I feel. That this even got to the situation because you have players during the week like Longmuir and Goodwin, those coaches saying like, we don't know how to even
tackle.
Well, we don't know how to coach them to tackle anymore because there's so much ambiguity around the rule. But we'll dig into that later. On this game, I think Hawthorn has played it really well. You can say what you want.
Last 5 goals, wasn't it? Last 5 goals.
Oh, they were last 1, 2, 4. 4, but they had a good run. Even if you ignore that, that was still like 9 of the last 10 or something like that. I'm not counting, but it's still really good. I think, say what you will about the Lions, I don't think they played an awful game. I feel like they're just outplayed by Hawthorn. I don't know how much merit that holds, but that's how I feel. Shout out to players like, further on, like you said before, Lewis, SICILY, other SICILY, the player of the match. But even players like Will Day. Hey, it wasn't too bad a day out. And also even like Dylan Moore. I was pretty impressed with his game too. So shout out to them. And what really stood out for me in this game was just the way the Hawthorn moved the ball. A lot more handballs than I think they anticipated. But it's just all their uncontested possessions. And it's been a while. But Brisbane were beaten by, I think, over 100 uncontested possessions, which is the first time in a long time that they've been just ruined by a stat like that. So credit to the Hawks for exposing that, really. And yeah, this is a coaching masterclass in my opinion.
Sam Mitchell did come out this week and stated that he is searching for the newest iteration of the game, trying to create a different brand, which is something that I love coming from Sam Mitchell, being a unique character instead of just following everyone else like a rabbit, like the sheep. He's really trying to find something new to break open the game of AFL as a whole. So you look at the likes of Collingwood, who's just attack. Hawthorn were handball. And that's pretty much one of the reasons why they bet the Lions, because the Lions were just not prepared for a handballing masterclass by the Hawks. And on the Lions, for them to win a final or even a grand final, as we expect them to be up there for the preliminary final at least, they need to be winning games in Melbourne. And if they can't do that, then unfortunately they won't be winning a grand final anytime soon.
Well, to give themselves a chance, you need the top 4 chance. Because look,
yeah, exactly.
At this point in time, you would expect them to be running through Collingwood, which will be the MCG, or Port Adelaide, down Adelaide. And Brisbane, I don't think perform well at either ground. Of course, MCG less so than Adelaide, but it's a tough draw. So you'd be ideally pushing for a top 2 finish to at least get to the grand final. Or if you're finishing third to play Port, winning that to then go back to the Gabba. But it's tough.
But in saying that, the finals are a completely different ball game compared to the home and away season.
Yeah, well, the Lions have also shown that they can't rock up in finals either. So
that's also very true.
There is that.
Talking about not showing up, the Eagles did not show up whatsoever against the Crows. Congratulations on the mid-season draftee Marriage in making his senior debut and kicking 2 goals. But more importantly, 250 games, Taylor Walker, 10 stunning goals, and he will later be my player of the week. He was just fantastic. The Crows just ran amok at Adelaide Oval, and they're putting themselves up for that top 4 position, in my opinion. They're really attacking that, and all top 4 teams should be scared of this team because they are so dangerous.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much merit this holds because once again, it's against the Eagles, and we saw similar thing to Hawthorn, and then they got belted the week after. So, don't know how much merit that holds, but it's we'll take it. 10 goals for Tex, really good stuff into game 250. So yeah, good stuff. I was impressed with Marriage though. I didn't see this one live, but I think he still had a pretty good game, especially for a first game in a big blowout of 122 points. So yeah, I'm happy for the bloke.
Indeed. Fremantle, Richmond's winning 85-70. Fremantle made a last ditch effort to try and win this game. Jai missed kicking 4 goals, if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 goals.
Yeah, 4 goals.
But Richmond's just too good, and they're 2 points outside the top 8. So that's something to really consider moving forward. Richmond can still make the top 8, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Richmond's just too good. Taranto and Bolton were my 2 players that really stood out for the Tigers.
Yeah.
And another incident where Mansell got a bump, and that's being challenged at the tribunal. So it's huge controversy, which we'll get into in regards to head collisions, tackles, and bumps. So that's something we'll get into, but the Tigers were just too good that night. They blew them out of the park from the start.
Yeah, well, from halfway through the first quarter, it was just all Richmond, and Bolton, Taranto, Nane Curvis, even Short, Daniel Rioli had a piece of it. They still had a pretty good game, and I thought they played really well from nearly the get go. Unfortunately, they let Freo sneak back, gave them a chance, but hey, you'll take that. I didn't expect Richmond win here, and I think still not as much credit as we give them, but I'm not as convinced that they're a finals team per se, not yet.
Not yet.
Some more good wins against some better quality sides rather than a team which is on and off and lurking around about top 8. That's good. There's an opposition you want to beat, but not by 15. I want to see more, but McQuarters is doing a really good job at coach. I'm very happy with him, and
100%.
I would be rapt if I'm a Richmond supporter and I see him getting signed to a longer deal for sure, as a head coach rather.
I've got nothing much to say about this game. Do you? Or
not really. It's very close. All things considered in that last quarter, but I guess Richmond just got across the line. I didn't see this one live, so I can't comment a whole lot, unfortunately.
A game that I didn't watch whatsoever. The Giants getting over the Kangaroos 103-75. But the one comment that I did see from this game is that North Melbourne's youthful midfield in Wardlaw, Diesel, and Phillips is really exciting to watch moving forward. But the Giants just too good. Toby Green, the usual suspects for the Giants. I'm being honest, I didn't watch this game, but those were the only comments that I heard out of this game.
Yeah, well, from what I saw, Wardlaw had a great game. Fantastic game. 9 tackles, 20. Sorry, 9 tackles, 22 disposals, and a goal to finish it all off. I think, he got, I think, selected for Rookie of the Round. I don't remember what the official thing is, but he had a fantastic game. And the whole midfield, even Sheasel, if you throw him roundabouts, like all the young guys, they're starting to hit some good strides. From what I've seen, and I tipped North, but you'd expect the Giants to get up here, really, and no, they did it pretty emphatically. So good signs from both teams, and Yeah.
I've got nothing much really to say.
Powering through. Hey,
a game that
game
that I went to, Bombers Carlton. Carlton just disappointing. From probably halftime onwards. Essendon blew them out of the park in the third quarter specifically. Welcome back to Peter Wright, kicking 5 goals, 2-meter, 2-seater Peter. The Bombers were really exciting. They were really, really exciting. And I feel like this is the year that they win their first final in nearly 20 years.
It's a big call considering it's Carlton they played.
I liked them a lot. The Bombers are on the rise, and I wouldn't be surprised if they get a key defender, like maybe even a Ben Mackay, or even in the drafts, get a big-bodied defender and really push for a top 4 position next year. I'm really excited with the Bombers and how they performed. But in regards to Carlton just disappointing that night. They started off really well, but 6 goals, 16s is unforgivable. You need to be more accurate than that. Charlie Curnow turned into Harry Mackay tonight, kicking some shots from outside 50 that just missed the mark. Even though he still kicked 2 goals, it was like 2 goals 4, 2 goals 5. It was pretty boring to watch until that third quarter where they really broke them out, the Bombers. But yeah, it's just the Bombers show.
Yeah. I mean, Dons had 8 goals straight through the second and third quarters. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't excuse a 16-16 performance from Carlton. That's very, very ordinary. And look, if I can do my math right, that's more scoring shots than Essendon.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost by 34 points. So, it's week in, week out. This is the same memo from Carlton A. It's not flash at all. And they have to do something eventually, right? They play the Suns this weekend on the Sunday at the MCG. That'll be an interesting game. Suns coming off a bye. Not sure how your thoughts are on teams coming off a bye, but historically not too fantastic, especially with the Suns. But yeah, that'll be an interesting game for sure. You'd expect the Suns to be better, probably, but no, can Carlton make a comeback in a game which is probably more winnable than most? We'll talk about that later.
Something I did recognize watching the pre-game is that with set shots for Carlton, they didn't really wait and really set themselves up for the set shot. They just sort of went back, looked at the goal, and just went. They didn't really prepare the ball drop. They didn't really prepare really much for where they're going to kick it to, so aiming somewhere behind the goals, so then you're able to kick it across the line to make it a goal. But the visions after the game, if I was a Carlton supporter, I'd be disappointed because showing such blatant disrespect to the players, even though that they are down, and I understand that the fans are in pain, I do sympathise. But I'd like to see some of the Carlton fans give it a crack and become AFL players and try and do one better on some of the players, even though that they are out of form and they probably should be doing better. You shouldn't be saying like Jack Salvani, take your jumper off, mate. You're horrible. You're nothing like your dad. Like it's disrespectful for your team and your club. And even though we do give players flack, we don't say that they are not deserving of being AFL players because they got there for a reason, didn't they?
Yeah, everyone's there for a reason, one way or another. But yeah, I'm sad to see. I guess.
Neil Danaher game. The Neil Danaher game. Congratulations on such a superstar person.
Big freeze.
Big freeze. Melbourne getting over the Pies 66 to 62. Melbourne sort of keeping the Pies in this game with 8 goals 18. So they did one better on Carlton. But Collingwood coming back last minute as they usually do, but just couldn't get the chocolates in the end. Melbourne's just too good, too strong. I know some players that you'll point out is Viney and Lockie Hunter, but Collingwood started off really well, and then Melbourne just did really well, and then Collingwood had to fight back to get that 62 to 66 sort of score.
Yeah. It was, I don't want to say it's to and fro the whole time. Collingwood had a very good start, and there's only that second quarter where Melbourne kind of put their act together, and they definitely looks like the more dominant team. I mean, yeah, 8 goals 18 towards the end, but it was definitely more Melbourne. They had a lot more control of the game, and it was definitely a lot of control versus chaos, I think is the way you can put it. Melbourne very organized, very structured. They know how they're playing. They know how to counter. They've got all the chess pieces on the board, and they know how to move them. Whereas Collingwood, it's all a bit more frantic footy, trying to put Melbourne in a state of disarray. And to an extent, that worked. And I think that 8 goals 18 from Melbourne can kind of demonstrate that. But, I mean, end of the day, Melbourne got the chocolates. And, hey, like you said last week, all good teams have to lose eventually. And this was it. They nearly let it.
Collingwood will bounce back.
Yeah, well, they have the bye this week, and they definitely will. This game in particular, though, the nail biter. You saw Melbourne, getting out to a bit of a lead, 18-point lead, and you're thinking, oh, they have something here. Or was it 20-point lead? I don't remember. Sorry. But no, you're thinking like, oh, they have it. They've got this game. But then you go, oh, hang on, this is Collingwood.
Yeah, the comeback kings.
Yeah,
of the AFL.
And then you see him kick behind. It's, okay, there's another 10-50. There's another one. There's a third behind, and then they get a goal. It's like, oh, okay, but it's just a goal. Right, it's fine. And then they get another goal. There's like a minute left, and they get another goal. It's like, oh, okay, no, this is serious. Collingwood's here, and they're coming. And then there's 20-something seconds left, and then they go to get a forward. Melbourne just hold on towards the end. It's a very dramatic finish, but
very dramatic. Being for a game like this, Melbourne were due to win against the Pies, as the Pies have bet them constantly in the past as well.
Oh, by skin of their teeth. I think we're still playing off very loosely, but Melbourne barely won, and that's not discrediting anyone. I think both teams played fairly okay. Collingwood probably the worst team, but I think considering it was a closer game, or closer loss, I think Collingwood will look at this one a bit more in depth, and they'll get heaps out of this one for sure.
Could we see both of these teams in the grand final this year?
Collingwood definitely. I don't see no reason why they shouldn't. Melbourne's form recently, and once again reflected on the scoreboard, inconsistent, and they've had poor form for a while now. I believe they have a bye this week, and they'll be back round 15 against the Cats. So, yeah, they'll be pretty, all right with this one going to the bye, but should be interesting. I don't think I have them making the grand final though.
Fair enough.
I think there are just other teams that I might favour a bit more. Namely Port. Port can play home and away. MCG is a bit dodgier, but they can play at Marvel, which is good, especially if they might potentially play a team like Bulldogs, And if that turns out being at Marvel, hey, you never know. Of course, that won't happen if they get a home final. But hey, that's all right. But yeah.
But that's round 13.
Done and dusted in less than half hour. We've sped run through that. Let's get into power rankings.
Power rankings. Your segment, Elijah.
Yes, sir. All right. So only a few changes. Now you could say teams like Richmond, you could argue put them up a bit more, or some other teams throw them wherever away, whatever. We only made 2 changes actually between rounds. So
I can just discuss them.
Yeah.
Discuss those changes.
So on Richmond, we've moved them up from 14th to 12th. I think winning against Freo. I mean, once again, you argue Fremantle probably down out of the top 8. Sure. I don't think I'm comfortable doing that yet. Either of us are. Fremantle, Essendon beat Carlton, which we don't rate very highly. In a game they, on the scoring shot wise, they lost. And Gold Coast had the bye. So I don't think you can reasonably say that they've got an indicator of where to move next. So leaving it there for now. But Richmond in 12th, just below Geelong. How the game pans out on Thursday night as we're recording. By the time this is out, everyone will know the scores. At the moment, Port Adelaide's winning at 3/4 time.
81-64.
Yeah, 3/4 time. Port by 17. I do have Port, and Jacob has the Cats.
I have Geelong. I have the Cats.
Yeah, but depending on that and how Richmond performs, this week,
against the Saints.
Yeah, that might change some things up, especially because Saints are right there. And they're sitting in 5th on the actual ladder, but the Tigers definitely can punch up. If they do the same thing against Rio, they could do something. And then one of the changes I think is pretty obvious to make: Melbourne moving up,
and Brisbane moving down.
Yeah, well, that's a consequence of Melbourne. And same with the Bulldogs and Adelaide. All 3 have been knocked down. But I mean, you pick Collingwood. I don't think you can argue much against them moving up. They have to move up from where they were. So hey, and that's pretty much it. If you have any concerns with the power rankings, then too bad, too sad. That's what we think, Carlton supporters.
Carlton down the bottom.
I'm sorry,
just for their horrible display of sportsmanship against their own teammates. Just for the members, just for the morass.
Well, no, I think if Hawthorn and Carlton played tomorrow, I think Hawthorn win pretty easily.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
And you can leave CJ out of that lineup too, and Sicily. Actually, no, Sicily makes it tighter. But anyway, CJ will be back.
Frost as a full forward, and then bang.
Oh, better than Curnow and Mackay. Not after this week. But anyway, that's power rankings.
On to our predictions.
All right.
We've already sort of made our predictions with Port Adelaide and Geelong. I've chosen Geelong. Elijah's chosen Port Adelaide. Geelong losing by 17 at 3/4 time, 81-64.
Yeah, I did have him by 50, Port by 15, so we'll see how close that gets. But yeah,
get that bank for your buck. Brisbane against Sydney at the Gabba. I've got the Lions.
Lions, pretty self-explanatory. Coming back from a bad loss, and now back at home. I think they get this one pretty easy. Swans keep losing.
Giants and Dockers. I've got the Giants.
I have the Dockers.
I've got the Giants solely because of home advantage. I've honestly never seen Fremantle play at Giants Stadium.
Come to think of it, I haven't either. But but I think that Fremantle's just a bit better of a side. I think close loss against Richmond, they should know what to work with. I mean, Longmuir doesn't know how to approach the tackling, and that's fair. No one does. But
touch footy.
Yeah.
Just touch him.
Otherwise, get your entire team suspended or your entire list suspended, and see what the AFL does. But yeah, I think Fremantle's just a touch better. I think they'll improve from last week. I don't know if they have anyone back, but yeah, bit of an upset from me, I think.
Fair enough. Richmond, St Kilda at the J. I've got the Tigers.
I do too. I like McWalters. He's a good coach. And Richmond MCG, I mean, they win usually there.
In the past, this was the Nick Riewoldt and Jack Riewoldt game because of Nick Riewoldt's sister, if I remember correctly.
Maddie's match.
But Richmond's, I feel like at the moment they're really exciting, really explosive. Tim Taranto will tear this game apart with Bolton and co.
It'd be interesting to see how Ross Lyon approaches on defensively.
100%.
They have a bye next week, I think. So the game before the bye, interesting to see how they'll approach this one. Yeah.
Carlton Suns at the J.
Yeah.
I've got the Suns.
I have the Blues, but only.
Wow. Okay.
I have one reason. It's because historically, the Suns have only won one game in its entirety.
At the J.
No, not the MCG, after a bye. They had a bye last week.
Whoa.
But going to enemy territory and after a bye, I have no idea who to tip here. Originally had Suns, stops to Carlton, back and forth. I've landed on Carlton at the moment. I want to leave it. But Carlton at home, I hope that they do something this week. Because,
for your sake.
Yeah, but Gold Coast after a bye, historically, not too great. Yeah, they're like 1-11. So, I don't know how to feel about it. So, I'm playing it safe as I can be, in that case, and I won't
Carlton. North Melbourne Bulldogs. Who do you have? I've got an upset.
No shot.
I've got an upset. I've got the Kangas.
And you have to explain this one. I'm sorry, you can't get away with not explaining that.
I feel like their midfield is really exciting. Ward Gore will tear Bontempelli apart in this game. And my reasoning for that is because I just have this gut feeling that the Kangaroos will pull up something special. I've just got this gut feeling.
I think someone slipped you 100 and said, "You know what? Tip North this week." I think that's insane. I think
have I lost my sanity? I don't know, I feel like the Roos will get up. As we've seen in the past, there have been upset after upset, and I feel like this game will be an upset.
I think, North Melbourne's midfield is good, but they're young, and I think that the Dogs have the best midfield in the comp because at the best healthy midfield in the comp of the available players. They also have the best ruck, a better forward line, a better back line. I don't know where the win's going to come from, but good luck.
Suvlaki with his new contract.
Sure. Yeah.
But I know you're big on this one. The frustrations and anger is boiling over. I can see your face turning red as we talk. Are we watching footy or are we watching soccer? That is the question.
I think it's time to jump off the footy train, the AFL footy, and jump over to rugby. Because honestly, we've lost it. We're back into the segment, finally, after a long while, what we're mad about. And it's not Carlton this time. Finally.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I mean, it's still Carlton, but it's not the main topic today. So, if you've been living under a rock, or you're just out of touch, there's 3 tackles went to the tribunal this week. There was Dan Butler's tackle on Blakey in the Saints Swans game. He got scot-free. They went to the tribunal and they wiped off the 3-match ban. He's free to play next. He's free to play.
Was it originally 3 matches?
Yep.
Whoa.
I think all 3 are originally 3+. I mean, I could see it maybe a 1, but I guess the lawyer's just really good at St Kilda. So hey, you'll take that if you're the Saints. But I'd expect 1 just because of the motion. Almost like a spear tackle motion, pulling Blakey's head into the ground. But he'll take that. There was also the Richmond players. What's his name again?
Mansell.
His tackle. I don't remember what his was like. That
was a bump.
Sorry. I don't remember that one, to be completely honest. But that one has been appealed. The tribunal had said that one to be 3 weeks, but that one's been appealed again. They'll get a hearing tomorrow on Friday. And then the big one, James SICILY tackle on Hugh McCluggage in the Hawks Lions game. And look, with
notable mention of Brockman going over the top.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think that's a factor that you need to consider. Because he pretty much jumped into the tackle and ran into McCluggage's back as he was being tackled. It was labelled as a sling tackle, which isn't correct at all, I don't think, because it was SICILY, like you can't not tackle that. Now, same with the Butler situation. You can't not tackle there because otherwise you're getting demoted to the VFL for the next month because you need to tackle there. And in Hawthorn's case, he's the captain, so he needs to put in that initiative. At that point in time, he was awarded a free kick for that tackle. Like, okay. And then it was overturned later, and he's given a suspension, which is now been 3 weeks. If that holds, the hearing will be on Monday.
Which is a whole other round
Monday,
that goes by.
Yeah, Monday 19th. That's after this coming round. Because Hawks have to
which
fly.
is pretty poor on the AFL's behalf.
Well,
expect it to be.
I think it's just a lack of lawyers that is not around. But also Hawthorn not playing this
Carlton's
week.
lawyers?
Hey, they should. They consider it. Get in touch with Cribs. You might have someone. But no. So I want to go through. Have I said everything? I think so. I want to go through what the tribunal's final statement was on the tackle. I'll be reading it out. So, SICILY clung on and rotated McCluggage across his body. Tyler Brockman leapt across the back of the rotating McCluggage and made contact with him. Right? So they've noted it. SICILY kept clinging onto McCluggage and kept rotating him. We do not accept Brockman's involvement caused an otherwise safe tackle to be dangerous.
Whoa! Is that the statement?
Yep, I'm reading it off Twitter right now.
So you're telling me if Brockman had nothing to do with that tackle, so say for example if Brockman hit his head, that had nothing to do with the tackle, it was SICILY's fault for tackling him and suing him, and Tyler Brockman had the decision to jump or not jump. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so basically he could have been the other side of the ground, and they would have still said that he would have had otherwise no involvement whether the tackle from SICILY was safe or unsafe. Going on, let's keep reading. SICILY continued to rotate McCluggage, pulling him down on his left arm and pinning his left arm caused this tackle to be dangerous. He could have released the left arm. Had he done so, McCluggage would not have been rotated across his body into the ground with such force. Accordingly, we find this was a dangerous tackle. We do not accept that there were exceptional and compelling circumstances here. 2 matters were raised.
So you're telling me if you can just let go of his arm and allow him to dispose of the ball, allowing Brisbane to possibly get a goal or get some form of forward entry. Isn't the aim of the game trying to stop the player from getting it forward and getting a holding the ball?
Yeah.
Which was the decision, by the way. It was holding the ball.
Well, in this, I haven't finished reading it, but in this whole thing, they don't mention the word, what's it called? Concussion.
Really?
They don't mention it, which is crazy. Because they keep going on about how Brockman wasn't a factor in the decision yet. You know, or was the concussion, which is, oh boy. And this is clearly a decision. I think I've heard, who was that? Mitch Lewis, not Mitch Lewis, Jordan Lewis. He said this is a business decision. This is not a football decision. Footballers did not make this decision. It was business people making business moves. Let me go through the circumstances they've raised. So, as to the first, it may be that Brockman's involvement changed the force of the impact, but we can't be sufficiently satisfied as to the extent. If Brockman wasn't there, McCluggage would have still been rotated into the ground with force. I disagree with this, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
As to the second, we accept without hesitation Sicily was remorseful and immediately quite shaken by the injury to McCluggage he did not intend. This does not constitute exceptional and compelling circumstances, however. Despite, if you remember the DeGoey situation a bit ago,
that was intentional.
They took off a week for that. So they went down from 4 to 3 or 3 to 2. They took off a week because of that. Yet in this case, they've said otherwise. This does not constitute exceptional and compelling circumstances. We impose a sanction of 3 weeks suspension. That is direct from the tribunal. My blood is boiling.
I want to go watch the Australia-Argentina game that's currently going on in Shanghai or Hong Kong at the moment, because that is not football. In football, you should be able to tackle. Oh, by the way, Quinton Nark was going for his first goal.
He's already got it. It's in the second quarter.
Already... Oh, never mind. That, like, how are you supposed to tackle someone without not having some form of damage to the head? Like, of course, you can't make him hit the ground, of course. Like, you can tackle him, but there's going to be some form of head trauma that occurs during a tackle, whether or not it's a high tackle. If that's the case, every single high tackle should be 1 week.
Yeah.
Because you can't touch a player's head. You pretty much just can't touch the body and allow the head to touch any form of the field. If that's the case, if the ball hits a player's head and causes a falcon, the ball gets 4 weeks suspension.
Oh, yeah.
And jail time for being a bad boy.
Unless you're forever Carlton.
Carlton not just disabled, but they're not good in the head.
I think of the situation differently, because I rate it very differently to I think you do. So if you watch the clip not in slow motion and you watch it full speed, please tell me the spare time that Sicily has in the 0.2 seconds this tackle happens to change anything about the outcome.
I have watched the tackle, and I've watched it from multiple angles that they showed with Jordan Lewis discussing it. There was nothing much he could have done.
No, it was a good tackle. It was a solid tackle, and from what I saw, and once again, I think Jordan Lewis agrees. He goes in from the tackle, and he tries to pull him onto him. Now, this is a thing which the umpires have told the players that they should do more, and they've rewarded players for it. You pull the player onto you. Now, Sicily did exactly this. From what I saw, his arms did not move. He pulled him onto him. They did not move for after that. McCluggage fell afterwards. Conk
Hit his head.
Yeah, hit his head after Brockman, I believe, had some impact in it. That doesn't mean Brockman gets any, sanctions from that. He didn't do anything wrong, I don't think. But I mean, he was just caught in an unlucky situation. But I don't think that it was a sling tackle. I think Sicily did the perfect tackle, and it's just unfortunate that someone else came along that impacted it. And well, I think
hit his head.
Yeah, and I think in game the umpires paid the free kick to Sicily. That was the decision that made. I think you could leave it at that. Honestly, just leave it at that. Give him a fine, maybe because it's concussed, maybe a week tops. I don't think he should get anything else.
I understand that the AFL want to protect people's brains and heads and head trauma, but where does that leave the game in regards to tackling? Does that mean that everyone has to wear some form of helmet? Does that mean that they have to reinstate the rule for tackling and show what the perfect tackle is, so then players can allow time to practice? Or do we actually understand that mistakes are made where a tackle is just going to cause some form of head trauma, which is what the game has always been about? It's always been physical, and you are an athlete. You're an athlete. You are paid to play and be physical, and this is the risk that comes with it. I feel like there has to be, and I feel like this third option is the better option, due to the fact that they should give every single player a piece of paper to sign that states when you enter that field, which I feel like they already do. They probably already do. Once you enter the playing field, you will be at risk of being injured, whether it be head trauma, broken bones, muscles, and you will be reinstated.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the better option, because you're not killing the spirit of the game.
Yeah. Well, as far as I'm aware, when Sicily went into the Brisbane rooms after the game, checked if McCluggage was all right, and he's like, all cleared up between the two, no bad blood, all good. Similar to what DeGoey did, and DeGoey got a week wiped off for that, and no, Sicily. Comment from Richard on the post I got that little blurb from. Reads like they've watched the slow motion footage so often they've decided that it was real time, and Sicily had the chance to boil a kettle, pour a cup of tea, and tuck you into bed.
Oh.
I just thought it was funny. I just wanted to mention that because I can see it. I would agree. I think it was ridiculous to suggest that Sicily in that case could do anything else. I think it was a perfect tackle. It's unfortunate scene of consequences and well circumstances, and he should be just getting a fine. There's no weeks involved in that. Oh, I think it's ridiculous. But anyway, if it holds, he'll miss. Yeah,
Riot.
Oh, yeah. But by this week, so he'll miss the Suns game. He'll miss the Blues, the Giants, and he'll come back against the Kangaroos in round 18. So, yeah.
The game has an identity crisis.
It does, and I am not happy. But hey, at least my favorite esports mid-season tournament is starting tomorrow, so I can go watch that instead and free myself.
Okay, that's funny. I've got my funny moment just there.
I'm not really of the last round, but yeah, we can talk about it. Speaking of, hey,
funny.
Let's do it now.
Let's. Ollie Henry just missed a very funny goal. He was free in space and he was going into the Port Adelaide cheer squad, and he missed it to the right, and every Port Adelaide player gave it to him. And another Ollie Henry moment. He's done something similar to what he did with Darcy Moore. Anything else that was funny? Oh, at the Carlton Essendon game that I went to, I decided that sitting on the top floor, the fourth floor, was getting too uncomfortable, especially with two old men sitting next to me. Like, I didn't know who the hell they were.
Oh, that's the best
So
part.
I decided, get away from me. So I decided to go to the floor level, the ground level, and stand in the standing area at the back. And there was a stand next to me, and these Bomber supporters were chanting soccer chants like, na 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 na. We love Peter Wright, Peter Wright. We love Peter Wright. All that stuff. And the chant that really stood out to me is "Don't sack Voss, don't sack Voss," because they just loved beating Carlton, I guess. But
It's funny.
that was my funny moment. I even sent it to No Context Football. There was this guy who wore a bag. He had a smiley face, and it said, "I love the baggers." So
It's good.
some characters at the football, which is what I love to see.
That is
The
good.
spirit of the game is not dead.
Oh no, not yet. Yeah, we get the MCA for that. Not my fault. All right. I think.
Oh, and the other funny moment was when that guy ran onto the SCG, and the SCG had the worst security guards. They had the worst security guard. And one of the security guards was full penalty. He was running so fast that he did a hamstring, and you could see him limping at the bottom of the screen. And then you got a security guard in the middle, and he falls over in the most comedic Looney Tunes way. I just the replay, and it made me laugh so hard. The security guard do his hamstring, and this guy comedically falling over, and they didn't even catch the guy. They ate too much donuts. They've been watching too many American police shows, but he eventually got caught within the stands. But that was the funniest moment of the round.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even catch that. That was beautiful.
You didn't even catch it? Oh my days.
No.
Oh.
Well, I know now, but hey. All right. Players of the round or week, whatever you want to describe it as.
Tex Walker with the 10 goals.
Done.
Magnificent 250.
Done easy, yeah. Mine, Viney from the D's. I do want to shout out Lockie Hunter. He didn't get much mention most of the game and even in the post-game article. But I was very impressed with the way Hunter played. But yeah, Jack Viney, he got the medal at the end of the day. Well deserved, great performance. 7 tackles, 32 disposals, and a goal. I mean, he was really, really well. 19 of those contested as well, of 19 out of 32 disposals. And yeah, 7 score involvements too. So really impactful day. And yeah, and he played most of it too. So yeah.
Really good leader for the club, isn't he, Viney?
Oh yeah, and he's been through the thick and thin for sure. Great
Father
guy.
son as well.
Yeah, okay, great guy. And yeah, very, very well deserving of the
Player of the week.
Player of the week, and also yeah, the thing he got on Monday.
Player of the round.
Yep. Okay.
Final comments? Any final comments?
Well, if my Sicily rant wasn't enough for you, no, I don't have anything else.
Just better security at the SCG. Get more fit blokes.
Yep.
And Port Adelaide look like they're going to get up. It's 108-71. So
yep.
Your tip is correct.
Yeah, 5.5 minutes left, and there's just over 6 goals for the Cats to catch up. probably
Highly
not going to happen.
unlikely.
Yeah. 16, 1208 to 11, 571. Cat's not too bad today, but at least in the first half, I guess Port just blew it away. We'll talk about that next episode. Don't worry. Anything else?
Nothing else from my half.
All right, cool. Well, sorry.
And that is.
Yep. Sorry
that
for
is
all
Jacob
for the.
Okay.
Sorry all for the late episode.
Yes.
But hopefully.
Uni stuff.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can get things in more of a running order next week. Uni more or less out of the way, and going into the last week of term for the school kids and school holidays after that. So good fun.
Last term, does that mean that they get like a 6-month holiday? Don't tell the kids that.
No,
they need to be going to school and learning.
2 weeks, Jacob. 2 weeks. Is next week?
You said last term. You said last term.
Next week and 2 weeks of holidays. That's it. That's all they get.
That doesn't matter. And then the next holidays is grand final week.
Yeah, or September.
That's what it usually is.
Or end of September. My memory of when that is different to most. But yes, that is when the grand final is.
All the kids out there, stay in school, study hard, and don't become a bum.
Or try not to.
Try not to. Always try your best, and remember, be positive and smile and follow your passions.
Yeah. And maybe one day you too can go 0-4 for Carlson.
And maybe you too can be a Carlton supporter.
I'd rather be a bum. All right.
That is Jacob and Elijah from the Premiership Podcast. Out.
Thank you.